This is going to be a good one. Welcome, everyone, to Voices of Integrity, your voice in my headset on friendship. It's going to be a collage of a whole bunch of different things. And so, Nora, you were sharing in the pre-show. Go ahead.
No, so I saw this video this morning on this divorce lawyer. He was talking about it, how men and women handle uncomfortable situations differently. And he was saying that women at a very young age are basically taught and forced because of, getting their periods and stuff that like you're gonna be uncomfortable. Like it's going to be, every 28 days you're going to be uncomfortable and you're just going to have to push through it. You're going to have to figure it out because you can't just every 28 days just lay in bed for 3 days. Like you're just going to have to figure it out. So they view or how they approach uncomfortable situations is different because it's so ingrained in like younger girls. You just deal with it versus guys don't typically don't have that. So when uncomfortable situations arises, women tend to just like they react differently than guys do. Guys tend to want to, run more, I guess, from it than women, if that makes sense.
That is really fascinating. Elaine, Rosanna, thoughts on that?
Um, it's true for some guys, not all. I would say that guys have similar things that they have to deal with. They know they're going to have to, if they're most likely going to get married, they know they have to support the family. So they know they can't like just expect it to happen. So they're going to have to prepare too. So I question that thought process.
Well, but they can just run off to work. They don't have to confront situations. They can just run off to work.
But what if they don't want to work? Period.
Well, like in that marriage seminar that, Roseanne and I, and actually Kenny was at too. And the woman said, women are lucky in life because they have lots of options. Men are not. Men have two options: work or go to prison. Those are your two options as a man. You either work or you go to prison. So if a man doesn't work, he's probably going to end up in prison. He's going to have a miserable life, most likely. Nora, you had another. So it's interesting because I can see that being true. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. But I can also see that women are not used to men confronting them. So when a man confronts a woman, it seems to be an unusual thing. Her dad didn't confront her. Her brothers didn't confront her. Her boyfriend didn't confront her. Shoot, her husband doesn't confront her. And so when a man finally does confront a woman, a woman doesn't seem to know how to handle that very well, in my experience. It's like, I can't believe you'd just confront me. My son has a friend who's engaged, and his fiance, he says, there's a group of 10 guys there, and not one of those 10 guys will confront her. But he will, because he had 4 sisters. So he learned, you know what? They can pull out the period if they want. I'm on my period. Tough. I don't care if you're on your period. Like, no, you're not going to do this. And he says, when he confronts that woman, ooh, does she not like it? And she will try to control the fiance. She will try to control the fiance, and she doesn't want the fiance around Ben because the fiance's like all the 9 guys are like, you mean we don't have to go ahead and take this from her? Nope. Really? We always thought we did. So little boys are trained from, a very young age. You don't question your mom. You just And moms will tend to use emotional, you're hurting my feelings, this and this. And so they use emotions on little boys, and often those little boys learn how to do that, especially in certain cultures. And those little boys grow up into men, and often those men didn't have a strong male role model in their life. They will try to use with other men this strategy they use with their mom and sisters. It doesn't work. It's like, you're doing what? You're going to be passive aggressive? It's not going to work. You're not going to talk to me. I don't care. Like, you're not going to do this or that. And so, Nora, you had another topic that was interesting.
Yeah, so like what do you do if you're like it's kind of like you have to rewire your whole brain. So if you've been treated unkindly or whatever you want to call it for so long, like you don't even know when you get treated nicely with respect, like your voice actually matters. Um, like your opinion is valued. Like you don't even know what to do with it. Like you don't know how to respond to it. Like you kind of somehow have to rewire your brain.
So, yours and my friendship has been really fascinating. And so, um, do you think that I treat you kindly?
I think if you look at like nice and
Right.
there's moments that I might not always say that, but yeah, like I don't think you're
See,
un
that's the nice and the kind. So if you go to Voices of Integrity podcast, or go to Voices of Integrity, and then you go to podcast, and then you go to Powerful Video Library, and then phase two. I know there's a lot. What can I say? In here, there's a video on kindness versus being nice. And it's really fascinating because he articulates it, I think, really well, where it's like, yeah, Mark's not nice. He's just not. He's not nice, but he's kind. But then Rosanna, I think people would say she's really nice, and I might say she's not kind. And so, like Patrick, I was talking to him about the video on driving. And he said, "Do you know why so and so got angry with you?" I'm like, I don't know. I guess not. He says, "Because you're safe to get angry with." Because the person knew they can get angry with you. It won't matter. Like, you're still going to be you. They're not going to go ahead and, like, you're not going to mistreat them. You're just, okay, yeah, you treated, yeah. So they get angry with you. I'm like, well, that explains why my wife and kids get angry. He's like, yeah, absolutely. That's why people get angry with you, is because you're safe. And so, we're going to use maybe some language, but I think it's appropriate. Like, it's like, so forgive us, if you don't like language. And so, especially with ladies present, I mean, I don't tend to swear, you know, anywhere, men, women, on my own. Like I just don't. But especially with women, being vulgar around women to me is just stupid. Um, and so maybe we'll tone it down a little bit, just because So if you're treated like crap, it's almost like you've got it. And we were talking about this on the pre-show. So Nora, like what you were sharing there, I thought was fascinating. I mean, it connects back into being treated well.
Was there like a specific thing or how I said it that like
It's like you said, you got to tell someone, do you know you're treating me like crap? And if you don't go ahead and kind of treat them like crap or let them know that they're treating you like crap, they don't even know. And they're like, no, I didn't know that.
right?
So it's almost like a child that's a pincher or a biter. They're biting their sister or brother or other friends, and you tell them not to bite. That hurts, and they still bite or they still pinch. And the way to stop it is to pinch them. Like they don't really know what they're doing. They don't know it hurts. They don't have empathy. This is where on Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern time, I have high hopes for like Tony and kindness. That connects back into this video. We should get this video out to Tony and have him watch this. Because like, I don't think like when he talked about his mom coming over, from Italy, and then they were the only Italians, and so everybody mistreated them, but she continued to treat them kind, even in spite of them. And so bullies typically are not won over by being soft. Bullies, you got to punch them in the nose. Otherwise, they'll just continue to take advantage of people. So it'll be interesting to ask him, like, what does Tony have to share about that? And so, his son was bullied. And so he learned martial arts so he could kick the crap out. Like I'm going to hurt you. Like if you come at me or my friends, I will physically harm you, and I have the capability to do so. So don't do that. Elaine, did you want to accomplish anything today?
I was gonna ask, how do you help friends who stay, and I'm gonna say abusive, but it may not be abusive relationships, just to not be alone? I would say a cheating relationship, maybe you could say instead of abusive.
So cheating, are you talking morally?
Yes,
So often it's going to be women that are in those situations.
right.
So men, they can, but by and large, women will do that. And so, in my experience with that, often women will feel like they won't feel they have options. They will rationalize it in their own brain on how. So they'll either ignore it, and if they can't ignore it, then they'll rationalize it in their brain.
Okay.
Nora, Rosanna, any other thoughts either of you have?
I would say it probably starts with um like the woman doesn't know her or the man in either situation, they have such a low respect for themselves to even be in that. So it's like I was having this conversation with one of my friends the other night, and we were talking about this certain someone that is with a person that's like old enough to be his mom. And it's like she's like, I honestly I feel really bad for the person. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like how horrible must one feel about oneself to think that, like, I don't know. Like, it's just, so I think maybe it starts with whichever the guy or the girl, like they have to see their value. Like they don't.
See, my theory is that like women, when they're pregnant, they have cravings. I heard of a woman who went ahead and craved chalk, eating chalk, like a chalkboard chalk. And they, I don't know, did analysis and they found out that it had some type of chemical that the baby needed. So the mom feels baby needs this and they can feel what the baby need. And so they eat it for the baby's benefit. I wonder if that's true with every human being where we have a need. It's not even a want, it's a need. And so that person, whoever that person is, gives us that need. And so in response, we give them something that they need. And you're exchanging something of value. And so if we're not aware of these needs, then we're vulnerable to somebody coming along and providing that and then capturing a part of our heart. So I don't think most people think of that. Like,
So how do you help people find that need somewhere else where they would benefit from it a lot better?
right? I mean, what they do with alcoholics, men often who are alcoholics, is they're high functioning alcoholics. So they have a man and he's got an attractive, wonderful wife and wonderful kids. He's got a good job, paying, goes to church. So he's a high functioning alcoholic. And so based on his life, it looks like he's got alcohol under control. But eventually, so what they try to do is they try to help that man to say, your wife is staying with you, but she won't always. Eventually, she's going to leave you. Eventually, your kids are going to hate you. Eventually, you're going to lose your job. You just are. And so it's progressional degeneration where it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So the Bible says, without a vision, the people perish. Like my vision, it's gotten me into trouble some, but it's also kept me out of a lot of trouble. And so, I mean, the personalities, I think the personalities can help. Like I've got a new friend, his name's Mike. I was talking to his daughter. His daughter is a very similar personality as me. So he's 68, I'm 62. So we're pretty close in age. He's a total opposite personality as I am. He's double expressive, double amiable. And I'm a analytic amiable or analytic driver. And so I said, I was talking to his daughter and he and I were hitting it off pretty good. And he said, and at the end of the speaker conversation, we were on speakerphone. He's like, "So, Mark, you're going to be friends with my daughter probably now rather than me, huh?" I said, "Well, personalities, we tend to go ahead and like other people who are like us and fall in love with people who are opposite." And then that his daughter said, "So you're going to like me and fall in love with my dad." And there's some truth to that. And his wife was on the phone too. And she's probably of a similar personality as I am. I don't know, but I'm guessing. So I'm looking for something from him. He's looking for something from me. And we might not, probably aren't even aware of it. Rosanna, is there anything you wanted to accomplish?
Well, you said something around the earlier podcast about our conversation while you were on vacation.
So you had been talking to Elaine and you had shared, about how you feel like somebody's suffocating you. So as long as I've known you, 42 years, you've been claustrophobic. And
Yeah,
so that's been there forever. But now it seems like there's more details. Maybe when you were 2 years old or something, two or under, somebody sat on you or, where you can't breathe, like you're panicking.
yeah,
Probably like you did when you went ahead and went scuba diving in Hawaii.
exactly.
Yeah. And so there's something, it's like, and so when you do, you black out.
Yeah,
And so, in the addiction, in the addiction, when they talk about that, clarity about addictions. So he talks about the little brain and the big brain and then the different pieces. And so we talked about on this one here about this here. And so um you and talking to Elaine, um, went ahead and you said, okay, you said, is it okay in our marriage? Is it okay if I feel it coming on where I'm not going to respond to you well? If I say, hey, I'm not going to respond to you well, can we pick this up another time? I'm like, absolutely. But I don't think you have the capability to do that based on our 41 years of marriage. In my experience, it's just, it comes on you and it's so fast, it's unbelievable. Like it's just all of a sudden Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
yeah,
And so, so it's almost like going into that room. I mean, it's the strangest thing. I mean, it's just the strangest thing in the world. So, you know, it's almost like there is no past, there is no future. There is only here and now, and it's the only thing that matters. So in friendships, it's almost like, so one thing that frustrates me is when people don't remember what's been done in the past. Like the only thing is in the here and now. So they get angry, their feelings or whatever. It's like their feelings take over, they possess them. And nothing that was done in the past matters. All it is right here, right now. And we've had this happen in more than one time in our marriage. It doesn't happen regularly, but it happens periodically where you're like, I'm angry with you or I'm afraid of this. It's like, has this ever happened in 42 years of marriage? No. That doesn't mean it couldn't happen. So there's, yeah, I mean, things can happen that have never happened before, but there's no pattern for it. Like there's a guy that I play pickleball with, and he went ahead and he said he has two goals in life. One is that he only is married to one woman. That's it. And two is that his kids, when he grows up, his kids will like him and want to spend time with him. Those are his two goals in life. Those are admirable goals. Well, his wife went ahead and had a dream that he divorced her. She woke up in the morning and she was all ticked with him. She was upset with him that she had the dream about the divorce. And it's one of his stated goals. Like, I'm not going to get a divorce. I'm going to be married to one woman my whole life. And so, yeah. So with me, I tend, I'm a driver analytics, so I'm all about the past and all about the future. I have a hard time living in the moment, or and our hard time being consumed by the moment. Like it seems like it's overwhelming to people. Questions, Rosanna?
No, but I did get some insight on how to possibly make that happen where I can go ahead and separate myself and come back.
How do you do that?
My therapist I talked to suggested that I turn my face away from what I feel is what is happening, and it's like I separate, not totally physically, but I separate my face from the situation and talk as if I'm outside of the conversation and come back to it.
So
So
it's an out of body experience in a sense.
right.
It's disassociation in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And so if you control that, if you control that rather than it controlling you, I think you're onto something. I think that's really good.
Right.
Um, Anybody else have anything else? There's a book out there. I think it's a lion in a snowdrift or something like that, or in a something. And I think it's in that one. Where in the jungle, the male lion will roar, and the animals will go run away from the roar. But what they're doing is running into the female lioness, and so the safe thing in life is to run towards a roar, is what this guy was doing. The things that we fear. So there's, I don't know that we'll take the time, but there's this young lady that was a waitress. And I don't know, somehow my son Ben went ahead and said something about drinking a beer. And she's like, well, I can get you a beer. Or she came up and said, do you want a beer? Or I don't know, do you want something to drink? He says, well, I'm here with my dad. And, so, probably not. She's like, I mean, he's 27 years old. It's like, I mean, you can get a beer. And he's like, well, maybe not. And she's like, you're a grown man. You can do that. Well, I'm just being considerate of my dad. So she found that strange. And I was, talking to Roseanne at the time. I came back and he told me all of this. And then she came back and we had this really fascinating conversation where she, started to tear up. And so, like the crab in the bucket, like the crab in the bucket principle is when one of the crabs crawl out of the bucket, all the other crabs pull him in. And he said something about smiling and me not being happy. And it's just fascinating to me. And Rosanna said that once to me too, where she's like, "You're not a happy person." I laughed and I said, I laughed and um, why do you say that? And she didn't really have a reason. She couldn't come up with something. I'm like, well, I might be the happiest sad person. You might be the saddest, happiest person. And I've had people at pickleball that also say that, like, Mark, why don't you smile? It's almost like everybody's trying to pull me into their world. I don't know. So the article, it says 40% of Americans long for more closeness with friends, but struggle to find the time for them. And I don't know that that's the truth. I think that people struggle just going deep. Like this young lady, I don't know her. She's 23, maybe, or early 20s, I'm guessing. And so we go very, very deep, very, very fast. And when I went to get some of the stuff from the car for her, she went ahead and said to Ben, "Sorry about that, going that deep with your dad." And she says, "I don't know. I don't want to be invasive in family." I said, "Oh, it's fine. It's no, totally okay." And Ben laughed and said, "Oh, that's just my dad." So it's like, I think people are out there, they want closer relationships, deeper relationships, but they don't know how to do it. And or they have a fear of doing it. Like Mary did when Mary said, "Well, I have a fear of having a level 4 friendship with my sister," which was fascinating to me. Why do you have a concern for that? Because I'm concerned that I might lose my sister, which was very profound for me, very self aware. And it's like, so I was talking with another young guy, and I wonder if this connects back into friendships. So this guy's wife was not a saver. So she was a spender. He was a saver. She's a spender. And she never had any money. She never had any money in her account. Like she always spent her money, all her money. And he went in one day and he found that, there's $4,000 in there. He's like, "Wow, way to go. You go. Like, I've never seen you have 4,000. Like, what's happened? Like, you've changed." And she's like, pause, and she kind of laughs, and it's almost like a game. It's almost like I'm addicted to see how much money I can save. And it's almost like that. I wonder if that's in friendships too, where like how deep can you go? Another, friend of mine, newer friend of mine, he's had a friend for, 60 years. And he tried to approach to the friend of 60 years. He tried to approach with a friend for 60 years that the friend was cheap. Well, that's impacting his marriage, his kids. It's impacting every area of his life. And so he's being a good friend. And after 60 years of friendship, he approaches it and it didn't go well. And to me, that's just sad because if his friend was exposed to the concept, there's 1% to 99%, the Graham-Boersma principle. Like if he was just familiar with that, they wouldn't have had to go ahead. So they're still friends, but he taught his friend, my new friend, he taught him, you don't go ahead and approach that. That's something you stay away from. You like that room, you don't talk about that room. So when Nora and Anita said, you're dismissive, I feel that you're dismissive. I like that. Like, okay, well, let's have that conversation ongoing. Or when Nora asked, do you think you're a pathological liar? I like that. Like, that's so cool. Like, nobody's ever said that to me before. And then when she said, I'm concerned about if you're going to heaven, like people don't say that to me. So to me, those are the kind of friendships that I'm looking for. The ones that create an uncomfortableness, the ones that challenge me, the ones that cause me to say, hey, there's some amount of truth to that. Like, let's dig into that. Let's figure that out. But they're few and far between. How do you think you have the courage or willingness or ability to do that to me, Nora?
Um, Probably because of the therapy I've done.
And for those that don't know any of that, what does that mean?
Well, I think like even thinking back 3 years ago, I would not have done that to anybody.
Interesting.
And I feel like because of therapy and stuff, like I don't know, like it's starting to, I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like um you try, I guess, in being in an abusive relationship or marriage, like you try to run people off. Like it's like kind of your goal to run people off. And then the ones that stick around are the ones that like are actually worth having, maybe. Like if that makes sense. It sounds twisted, but
I mean, see, this is the thing. Like with Emmanuel Baptist Church in Warrenville, you go, 24 years. I think that has significantly, after 24 years doing everything for 24 years, and then all of a sudden I get kicked out of the church. It's like, really? And why did I get kicked out? Because I had a concern about the pastor and the associate pastor, and the associate pastor was my brother. I mean, it wasn't for me. Like like it wasn't at all for me. It was a concern for them and the congregation. And so now I can feel that same thing, Nora. I'm like, I don't want to spend another 24 years. So if I'm going to go ahead, I just want people to know this is who Mark is. And if you don't like it, it's okay. like, like don't get in. If you just want a casual friendship, then have a casual friendship with me. It's okay. You'll like me a lot. You just will. But we're not going to have a deep relationship because I can see potential flaws very quickly, but I'm not going to say anything. Not because I like you, it's because I don't care about you. I just don't. If I cared about you, well, then I would say something. So it makes perfect sense to me, Nora. It's like, why waste years finding out? Like, if somebody's going to go ahead and run away, get them to run away sooner, faster. And so I've been, hashing through that for at least 6 years, probably over 20 years, but especially the last 6. And if somebody says, is that healthy, Mark? I'm like, well, sometimes it is, I think, and other times it's not. Like sometimes we might not give the relationship a chance to go ahead and, have the root structure goes down. We rip it off too quick. And I've wondered that about me. I'm like, do you chase people away and you don't even give them a chance to go ahead? Like you don't even get a chance for the seed to take root. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, going through the Mark Borisma for Dummies and the 21 podcasts on that, I mean, that was helpful for me. I mean, this podcast has been helpful for me. Like, I think, soon I think this is going on Spotify. And so it'd be interesting because I think, I listened to a podcast for a couple hours yesterday. And yeah, I guess entertaining to some people, but what did I learn? And what, so I think people, and then people on some of them, I guess on some of the other podcasts, these 3 guys do, you can go ahead and comment, you can ask questions. And so I think that like the 4 of us is great. We like when more people are here. But when you have, I look at the 4 of us as we're just pilgrims going along in life. We don't have it figured out. It's helped me with my grandkids a lot. Like when they misbehave, when they act out socially, that I'm like, that's not going to get you friends. And I'm like, like, why don't you behave or why don't you act this way? I'm like, Mark, they're 8 years old or maybe 14 or maybe 10. Like, what if you, like, you don't have it figured out after 62 years? How in the world are they supposed to figure it out? So, anything else, Elaine, you got?
Nope, I don't think so.
Roseanne, anything you got?
No.
Or anything else you got?
Nope.
If you're listening to the rebroadcast of this, if you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.